Upon arriving at the hospital, Elizabeth was diagnosed by a doctor who detected a health issue, making it difficult for her to breathe whenever she was exposed to smoke. The doctor advised David to ensure Elizabeth stayed away from smoke. Friends and hostel mates visited Elizabeth, but after a few minutes they all left, leaving only Elizabeth and her boyfriend David behind. The doctor informed David that Elizabeth would need to stay overnight for proper treatment. So David agreed and stayed with her in the hospital. The second day, Elizabeth was discharged from the hospital. They went home, even though Elizabeth hadn't fully regained her strength. They both went to David's hostel so she could rest. Days passed, and Elizabeth gradually started regaining her strength. One Sunday night, David and Elizabeth went to get dinner. Upon returning to the front of the hostel, Elizabeth rushed to a corner attempting to vomit. David and Dorcas, likely a mistake, assuming it's actually David's observation, saw this, and they both looked at each other in disbelief, because it was a sign of pregnancy. David walked close to Elizabeth, gave her water to wash her face and clean her mouth, and then asked politely, "Babe, are you pregnant?" Elizabeth replied sarcastically, "Are you pregnant? Look at your mouth." They both laughed and went inside. After a few minutes, Elizabeth felt like throwing up again. She ran outside trying to vomit. David ran after her, asking her again, "Babe, are you sure you're not pregnant?" She replied, "No, I'm not pregnant." The next day, when David woke up, he gave Elizabeth a sweet, soft kiss on her lips and said, "Wake up, sleepinghead." He smiled. Elizabeth opened her eyes, smiling and looking in David's direction with a blurry vision. In a twinkle of an eye, she held her head. David asked, "What's wrong?" She said she was feeling dizzy and a little weak. David comforted her, putting her head on his lap and trying to make her feel comfortable. After a few minutes, Elizabeth told David she was hungry, but David had no money with him to get food. Elizabeth saw David's reaction and immediately knew what the problem was, so she told David to take her phone to make a transfer for food. David smiled. He always knew Elizabeth to be a very supportive girlfriend. David stood up and went outside to get breakfast for both himself and his girlfriend. After eating breakfast, Elizabeth started feeling a slight headache and kept feeling like vomiting. David was now getting scared because he knew these were signs of pregnancy. He told Elizabeth to get a pregnancy test. The next day, early in the morning, Elizabeth went to a pharmacy to get a pregnancy test stick. She dipped it in her early morning urine, and when she removed it and showed David, the result was shocking.